Hey everybody, this is David Skarika here. Hope you're all doing very good. So this is our stock chart of the day for March the 11th, 2024. I'm doing this Sunday night. I was trying to get some sleep. I couldn't really sleep. Maybe it's the clock's being turned ahead an hour. So it's like I go to bed pretty early here on the island. I'm not exactly the most exciting guy in the world. So I was trying to go to bed around 10 and I just couldn't sleep. It's around 11. And so I was like, you know what, I'll just do my video now. And then maybe afterwards I'll feel a little more, laying down here. So anyhow, I just wanted to show you today's stock chart of the day theme is going to be, this is the 15th anniversary. I think it was actually March the 8th or 9th was the 15th anniversary of the bottom of the bear market. I know we've had three kind of mini bear markets in the last 15 years. 2018, stocks dropped about 20%. 2020 during COVID, we had a really quick crash. It was down, the market was down 30%. And then we saw another 25% drop roughly in 2022. But like really we've seen like they're all short drops. They're all between like a few weeks during the COVID crash to a few months in 2018 from October to December to about 8 or 9 months. So really mild bear market. So really we've seen a 15-year move in stocks. And this is kind of shows this. So what I wanted to show is there's something interesting we're going to talk about with sentiment and valuations. We're kind of in the opposite direction. So I'm going to start with the sentiment and a kind of a fun thing. I'm going to post these pictures on my website. So this is my friend Chris Krupe. He was a great guy. He was the CEO of Paramount Gold. He was the one who helped me sell the Nevada King Atlanta mine to Nevada King from Meadow Bay Resources. Unfortunately, he passed away in 2020. He took his own life. He was a great guy. So he was one of my best friends. I miss him a lot. So, he spoke at the conference. I've got a lot of these. I'm a huge Miami Vice fan. So I have a lot of these kind of white suits and that sort of thing. So Chris, this is Tom Calandra. So we did it at the Atlantis Resort in the Bahamas, the famous resort. If we go look at here, so Atlantis. Yeah, you can see it right here. That's the famous resort here in the Bahamas. Beautiful place. Very expensive, overpriced, but it's got one of the most amazing aquariums you've ever seen. So there's Tom. It's Bill Murphy, head of GATA. I got a great story about Bill. We'll talk about another time. That's Joe Martin. He ran the Cambridge House shows. So this was the aquarium that was right next to where the conference room was. We had about 50 to 60 people there. And, I had a pretty good spread. I didn't chintz on it. I think in the end, me and my friend Mike Swanson, we spent about 34,000 on it. It's 15 years ago, so forgive my memory. And we got about 27 to 28 in revenue. So we lost 6 or 7. And I was like, that's fine, because we wanted to show people a good time. We comped a couple of dinners at nice restaurants. Again, I have a crazy story about it. Actually, I will tell that story in a second. We'll leave that for the end. So, you see the kind of the spread there. This is one of the, I think the guy's name is Ian. Chris Ruddy, he's the CEO of Newsmax, was there. You can see the conference room was pretty full, so we can see we'd have people there. That's the aquarium. So it was just this, it wasn't in the main conference hall. It was in this little hall, which I preferred because it was beautiful. You could just, when you got bored of the speakers, you could sit there and watch the aquarium. And if anyone's been to Atlantis, that aquarium is amazing. It's got sharks, it's got prehistoric fish, it's got like everything. So again, the conference hall here. A couple people at so the first night we had this kind of outdoor gathering. There's me, a little younger, a little thinner, short hair. It's my friend Jackie, who's my assistant, beautiful girl from Calgary. Yeah, there's the highlight of the conference right there, right? Yeah, you can see the conference hall itself again, very nice. Great mural at the top there. Just Jason, he used to run Windfire Resources. So you can kind of see, the conference was kind of first class. I want to do one at one point here. I'll just quickly do this. Go resort. Here we go. And this is where I'd probably do it if I was here, because I'm good friends with the owners. If anyone ever saw this videos they did with Barstool, we'll just hit images here in Google. And you see beautiful water. It's a very low key kind of resort, very simple. But it's got on one of the best beaches here on the island. It does have this nice little outdoor area. We could probably even do the conference outdoor. It's got a nice kitchen area too. And it's got one of the, and it's in the super shallow part on the Caribbean side of the island. You can see right here, you see all, and that water, and especially at low tide, stretches for miles. You can literally walk out a mile and the water won't be above your chest. So I want to do this again sometime, but the issue right now is the gold market's been terrible. I need sponsor companies. I need, like I said, we had 60 people there in 2009, right at the bottom of the market. So I was really happy with that. So, but I just don't think anyone would have any interest. So if gold can boom, a couple of our investments do well, we'll probably do it here on the island. This resort to, I think it has about 16 rooms, but it's near Governor's Harbor, and there's a whole bunch of places to stay in Governor's Harbor as well. But yeah, I don't care. It doesn't have to be a huge thing. I would look for like 30, 40 attendees, maybe a handful of companies. And I think actually my cost, even with inflation, could be lower this time because Atlantis is it's a nice resort, but it's such a ripoff. And I know so many people here who have great catering, or have and Coco de Mama is like I said, it's not like an ostentatious kind of place. So there you go. So here's what the interesting thing about that conference was. Now we get into the market side of it. Okay, it was in 2009, and I know a lot of people think I'm a perma bear or I'm just a gold bug or whatever, but I was super bullish. I was like the only one at the conference, and I'm not talking about, people were bullish on commodities and the whatnot, and gold was coming off its lows, but I was essentially the only one, and we have to go even further. Let's go back to 2000. You understand the way people thought. When you go back to 2000, because there were two bear markets, the market was 50% below where it was like 10 years prior, right? It was actually, I think, back to where it was in 1997 or something like that. We'll go look at this and we'll see it. Yeah, you can see it was back to where it was, 97. And like you take into account inflation, it was probably like 96 levels. Like this whole huge kind of move that happened during the dot-com bubble. You can see the S&P goes from whatever, 600 to 1,500, essentially that had been taken out, I was virtually the only one bullish there at a time when you should have been bullish. There was pessimism. There was, the VIX was, we go look at the VIX, the VIX had gone to over 80. And actually, if we go look at the move, you can see that's in 2008. Here in 2009, it had been dropping. That was a sign that kind of like the volatility was going away, and we were probably going to see some kind of rally because the VIX wasn't confirming that market low in the first quarter. And then we look at the Buffett indicator, which is a key indicator, stock market as a percentage of GDP. And we can see back in 2009, it hit, 51%. It was the lowest it had been in decades. So again, stocks are actually getting cheap, price to sales, all these kind of indicators were really cheap, right? Like, and it says anything under 82% is significantly undervalued. And that we're only at 82%, we were at 51%, right? And then, and this is not a perfect indicator. One reason I turned bearish in about 2015, because we went over 100%, which is 117%, which is really, really, I know it says fair value here, but history over 100% is quite overvalued. And then they've changed this. So these are recently. Anything over 100% was considered overvalued in the past, okay? And now they've got these extreme ones because now this bull market has been so extreme. Now you can see we're at 184%, right? And and we went to 200% at the market stop in 2021. So we're extremely, extremely overvalued. Now, will we get back to this 200%? Only time will tell. But even by their kind of lofted up measures, anything over 152%, which essentially we've been in, since about 2020, 2021, is significantly up overvalued. So, and I would personally like to see this thing, be halved from here before I even, as a macro, before I even look at stock. So, but again, I just wanted to show you, because we're 15 years later, I did my conference in the Bahamas, 15 years since the market bottomed. And what has happened, in those 15 years, we've now seen this flip with the Magnificent Seven and massive overvaluation. Now everyone's bullish. So it's just, I just wanted to kind of show you this kind of huge, turn in valuation and sentiment and how sentiment works. Like, again, I'm not saying it to pound my own chest. I've made tons of mistakes over the years. But what I am trying to say is, like, I was the only one basically bullish on the stock market, not on gold, not on precious metals, but basically on the S&P. The S&P, bottom of 666, people were looking for it. I remember at the conference to go to 400, 500, et cetera, et cetera. So it just shows you the power of sentiment where, like, when people should have been bullish, they weren't. And now when everyone's bullish, they probably shouldn't be. So anyhow, I'm just going to leave it at that. I hope you enjoyed. This was kind of a cool stock chart of the day. You get to see a little bit of the Bahamas. And so watch out. We will do a conference at some point. Mike and I have talked about it. It was just so much work. And like I said, I lost money on it, but I wanted to do it top class. Like if you go look up Humidor or Grey Cliff, those were the restaurants. We did a little get together. I did another one at I also did a little cafe hang out called Cafe Milano. Unfortunately, the place is no longer open. But yeah, the other two, like Cafe Matisse, where we had one of the dinners, is probably the best restaurant on the in Nassau, in the Bahamas, in my opinion. So we'll do it at some nice places here too. And the nice thing is back then I just lived in a little condo, right? Well, now I've got a pretty big house. I've renovated my house in the last few years. When you watch those Barstool videos, if you ever wanted to watch them for fun, my house is so much nicer than it was in them. It's like actually when I watch them with friends, people are like, "Wow, Dave, it's like a different house," you know. So anyhow, I thought I'd just show you all this, and I hope you enjoyed this. And yeah, like maybe like I said, at some point we'll do something down in the Bahamas. There's a conference at Atlantis actually every January. So if we do get this big boom in the stock market, or sorry, in gold market till the end of the year, maybe I'll do it in mid-January, right? And on the back of that conference, like people could go to that conference in, Nassau, and then we're only a 15-minute flight over here, and we could do it here. In January, people want to get out of the cold. It's not the greatest time, in my opinion, in the Bahamas. Like we're starting to see very warm weather here right now, and mid-March. I think like mid-March to about mid-May, that's my favorite time of year here because it's not too hot like it is in the summer, but it's also not like it is, in the winter when you can get these cold fronts and it can be a little chilly. Okay, I digress. I hope everyone enjoyed this, and this was a fun one to do. So I'm going to put pictures of the conference underneath the video as well. So everybody take care, and yeah, we'll go. So we can see what we've gone from undervalued to overvalued and the way sentiment works. So we'll have a few more of these this week, and yeah, we're getting to the groove of things here.